Welcome to the 70th Sports Lounge. We made 70 of these things. I'm Travis Kriens. We have Marcus Traxler, David Schottenkirk, Charlie Hildebrand here this week. Tons of things to cover. We want to start with, for a first time, horse racing. We're going to start with the horse racing. The Belmont was yesterday. A ton of people watched. 20 million people watched this goddamn thing. And no Triple Crown again. I've seen it lots of times in my short life, and have yet to see a Triple Crown. As a tonalist, he won it, and California Chrome finished fourth. The big story is the owner, Steve Coburn, does not like the format of the Triple Crown, to where you do not have to race in either of the first two races to race in the Belmont. Do you agree with Mr. Steve Coburn?
I think it is a little unfair that you can just jump in at the end in the Belmont. You know, even if you didn't run the Kentucky Derby and take down somebody who's won the last two races. That said, it's been like this forever. I think I heard in 1978 when Affirmed won, there were just 5 horses in that race, and only one of them who didn't run in the Kentucky Derby. So, I mean, it's much more different now. These 3 races are the season essentially outside of the Breeders' Cup for those hardcore horse racing fans, and I guess I can't really blame what's his face for being all mad about this happening, but here we are.
I mean, I guess ultimately I think it's just kind of sour grapes by the owner. I mean, it's difficult for a reason. It's not supposed to be easy, and if you don't win, let's not take a kind of interesting story and, turn it into woe is me. And I mean, I kind of get the point to an extent that, like Traxler mentioned, it's harder now than it used to be. But, like, on a similar side note, though, like, I don't like it when people are complaining, like, oh, this horse he only had 2 weeks of rest and these other ones had 4 weeks. Be like, I'm pretty sure he can recover from a race in 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. I don't remember playing football or basketball in high school and, them being like, hey, you guys played on Friday. We need to take 3 weeks off so you guys can recuperate.
How many pitches did he throw, though? Jesus Christ, Hildebrand, how many pitches did California Chrome throw yesterday? Jeez.
True.
It's unfair.
They really get hurt when they get whipped with that rod thing, but I don't know.
I would say that it is unfair, but it's meant to be unfair. I mean, it's meant to be a very tough test. 3 races in 5 weeks isn't easy, but 11 or however many horses have done it over the course of history. I would say horses are bigger, stronger. They break down more than they probably did before, but horses it's way more competitive, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would maybe like to see it dwindle down to being, if you're the 20 or however many horses you decide to have in the Kentucky Derby, those are the ones that are eligible at the end.
This, like we said, this is not easy to do. There's only 12 of them in 130 years or whatever. Have done it none in the last 36 years. There's been a dozen, 13 or so since then that have won the first 2, but not the last one. Why is this so difficult? We understand it doesn't happen very often, but in the 70s you had 3. Back in the 30s and 40s you had quite a few of them. But why one guy, I want one horse to win this goddamn thing here, and it has not happened? Is there any reason why?
Well, I mean, on top of it being difficult, correct me if I'm wrong, but all these horses, like, they only do these races once, right? They don't come back and do it for 2 or 3 years later.
That's right, you got one chance. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's difficult to do it in baseball. There has been a Triple Crown winner more recently in baseball, but, they're different in that, you don't play 1 year of professional baseball and then you're done forever and don't ever get any more shots ever again. It would make baseball interesting in a way, but I think it'd be tough to get the same repeat service.
They're also different because one's a human and one's a horse.
You have a source on that?
No source. Media reports.
Media reports. Jay Glazer reports. So no Triple Crown again. We'll see what happens next year. But 20.6 million people watch this. I would say it's got to be fairly close, if not more than the national championship for basketball. got to be right around the number for the national championship in football. And the Super Bowl is really the only thing that maybe this entire year, sports-wise, is going to outdraw the Belmont. Are you surprised that the number that Belmont got yesterday?
I'm a little surprised, and I don't know off the top of my head, but it's been like 5 or 6 years since someone's had a chance to win the Triple Crown, isn't it? Or is it more recent than that?
A couple years ago, but the horse got scratched, so nobody cared. But yeah, it's been 5, 6 years.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I usually watch the Kentucky Derby and then usually watch the Preakness to see if the same one wins. And I would imagine a lot of people are similar to me, where if the horse does not then win the Preakness too, don't have any interest at all in watching the Belmont and don't watch it then.
Mm-hmm. I just looked back at the last 10 years before the show today. I watched some of these Belmonts back again. Smarty Jones in 2004 he led, and then Birdstone caught him in the end. Great race. It was 2006. That was the Barbaro year where he basically died at the Preakness. And 2008, like Kriens mentioned, Big Brown pulled up in the last turn, and he wasn't going to win anyway. And then 2 years ago, he had I'll Have Another, who called it quits the day before the race. So, the Smarty Jones is really the last race where you had somebody really run and have it be close at the end. And I'll Have Another, California Chrome. There was just nothing there when it came time to really make a run. I guess they sort of questioned the strategy of the horse or the ride that they had, but at the end of the day, he wasn't going to have enough.
In the long term, it doesn't really matter if they win it or not. Being memorable, California Chrome, you'll remember it that he came up short, but he'll just add his name to the list of other horses that came up short. But if he would have actually won, then you would have known that name. You would have known 2014 he won and the whole deal behind it. But really, is it really pretty much isolated to that 1 year? And anybody that wants to say, well, this is going to expand horse racing's popularity, when really it's these 3 events outside of the Breeders' Cup that the only 3 ones that matter, and there really is no way horse racing can have a extended run here outside of this 5 weeks in which they run these races.
Well, to me, it's very interesting because, okay, let's say yesterday California Chrome wins. Like you said, everybody would know California Chrome. California Chrome would be a hero. Everybody would know the horse. But in 2015, if you get to the same situation where the 2 horses win, are people going to care as much? I would say probably not. The Triple Crown, the 36-year drought loses its luster. Maybe it doesn't mean as much. I think it means more for them to have this sort of carrot hanging off in the end. No pun intended with the horses. Where there is a real there's at the end of the trail for these jockeys and trainers and owners, because there's not 20 million people watching this if somebody won the Triple Crown 2 years ago and it's just another person going for it.
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with that. Like you said, if
California Chrome.
I had a thought and I completely blanked on it now.
I like the idea, though, that none of us can remember the horse and the race was yesterday.
Yeah. I was basically just going to agree with what Draxler said. If he wins, then certainly it's a big deal for a few days, and then really the only lasting thing is then every year if someone wins the Preakness, it's no one's won the Triple Crown since California Chrome in 2014. And if someone wins it again in less than 5 or 6 years, it's not that big of a deal. But if it starts to be 10 years or so till someone would win it again, then it'd be kind of a big deal. But yeah, like you guys both said, other than the one caveat of no one's done this since this horse. Other than that, it's not like it's not like some kid in 4th grade's going to do their school project on horse racing and California Chrome's going to be the first horse mentioned or anything like that.
One more thing on Colburn. Okay. With what they spent $10,000 on the horse,
yep.
And they were talking about even if he wins, he's probably an 8-figure horse as far as potential bloodlines and going down the line.
Stud fees. We want the fees.
Yes.
We want the sperm. We want the whole thing.
Right. The Triple Crown made California Chrome. It made Steve Coburn. The Triple Crown broke him as well. I mean, that's just that he's nothing without California Chrome or the 2 wins at Louisville and in Baltimore. So, you might be a little unfair, but he's also much richer now.
And it's sports. If sports were fair, we wouldn't pay that they wouldn't pay that close of attention because they get boring really quickly then.
Where's the 14 playoff, huh?
We'll have Phil Steele talk to us about that later.
It's coming. Tonalist, was there good money to be made on Tonalist?
There was really good money to be made on all 3 of those horses that finished in the top 3, actually. I don't remember now the payout on Tonalist to win. It was like $25 on $2, I think.
Yeah, Marcus can confirm this. And I told him right beforehand that Tonalist was a horse I had no idea about. And I was going to go back to home, and he ended up winning. But I think it was like 11-1 or 12-1, so $25 on 2, like something said. All 3 of those horses, you had the trifecta, you made a shit ton of money yesterday. Obviously, a lot of people did, though.
I know, interesting side note, someone at work pointed out, is it seemed like Tonalist, or whatever the name of the horse that won, that would seem to be the one horse that didn't want to get in the starting blocks and had no interest in racing in the first place at the very beginning, which makes it kind of interesting and ironic. That the one horse that had the hipster, I don't care, and I'm way too cool for this attitude is the one that ended up winning.
So Jerry Tonalist, your winner of the Belmont there. Good for him. We wish him the best in his future. Stack, and he says he will be joining us for trivia time. I don't know how he knows when trivia time is, but magically he's going to know when it is. Well, I'm going to, because he's a big ratings guy, he wants the finals to be a sweep. Because of that, I want the Stanley Cup to be a sweep, so that ends quickly. Even though the first 2 games have been quite entertaining, I suppose. Do you think he will be surprised when I tell him 20 million people watched the horse race and not as many as 20 million people watched the hockey game following said horse race?
I think he'll be
the number for the hockey game.
Do we want to guess? I will. Let's all guess here. What are your guesses? The Belmont had 20.6 million. That was the pre-show in essence for the NHL game 2 between the Kings and the Rangers. Any guesses as to what the NHL Stanley Cup final last night drew?
I'm going to guess 6 million.
6 million.
I'm going to guess a little higher and go 11.5.
11.5.
It says 7.5.
7.5. What? Now I want you to guess what Stacken will guess.
Stacken will guess 34.6 million.
Yeah.
Second to only the Super Bowl on the season.
What will he guess the Belmont has?
4 million.
Yeah. 4 million. Okay. Mr. Traxler will win the prize here, as he is 400,000 people off. 6.4 million watched the game last night. So 2/3 of the audience said goodbye once the hockey game started there. But saw some of it, saw the overtime. The overtime was fantastic. Overtime hockey. If the sport was just overtime hockey, I think I'd be a pretty big fan. But it's not.
Yeah, whoever scores first wins. That would be. I'm not a hockey guy. I'd make it a lot more entertaining for me, though.
So you have the Kings up 2-0, which I mean, it doesn't matter. It's hockey. They could be up 4-0. I still think New York would have a chance to come back in the series. But what have you seen thus far? A very close game last night. The Rangers were up 2 goals many times. Did not pull it out in the end. Double overtime win there for the Kings. Henrik Lundqvist wasn't a fan of his flop there to get the penalty in the I think the first overtime. What a son of a bitch with a flop. So I have no rooting interest in this, but F him for that flop.
I don't truly have a rooting interest, but I would like to see the LA Kings win because that's been my pick I said either the Blackhawks or the Kings in the Western Conference Finals would win this, and so far the Kings, once they're down 2-0, that's go time for them. They've looked pretty good when the pressure's on. I expect them to win at least one of the 2 games in New York and probably finish the series off in 5 games once it returns to LA. I think the Rangers have done fine. I think Jonathan Quick actually hasn't been that great in goal, but I think the Kings have been able to find a way to just sort of hang around. And once you let a good team hang around long enough, as is true in most sports, the Kings will make you pay.
Charlie Hildebrand, being a non-soccer or a non-soccer and a non-hockey fan, such as myself, how much attention are you paying to this? Or did you watch any of the Can you watch the overtime?
My attention level's pretty low. I was at work last night and someone had it on, so I didn't pay attention during the game, or during regulation. I paid kind of attention during overtime some. I don't sit in a spot where I can see the TV without moving a little bit, and so I can't work and watch at the same time. I watched a little bit though. I did end up leaving before it was over, and didn't watch any of it when I go home or when I got home though. But I'm not going to be, if you like hockey, that's fine. I'm not going to take that away from you. And I won't make fun of people that like hockey. Soccer might be a little bit of a different story, but hockey I can understand.
If you like hockey, and as you said, you will not take it away from them. If you would take it away from them, what would you do with it, and where would you put it?
I guess I'd probably just let it stay in Canada if you're going to make me put it someplace. I mean, Canada's good at it. I don't want to take that away from them. Our neighbors to the north, they're one of our closest allies. I don't have anything against Canada. I think they should be able to enjoy hockey. That way all the Americans, all 400,000 of the Americans that like hockey can go travel there in the summer to watch it.
If you live in the U.S. and you like hockey, you need a passport to go get it back.
If you live in the U.S. and you like hockey, you might be from Minnesota.
That's probably true. You almost live in Canada anyway.
That's true.
Nice. I assume, neighbors to the north, you said Canada. You did not mean Brentford. So.
Well, I did mean Brentford, but their hockey facilities are a little lacking.
Is that a barbecue-colored shirt you have? I know what it is. It's a Gopher shirt, but it looks barbecue-colored to me.
Yeah, this is probably a little too brown, actually, but that would make it perfect for the old barbecue sauce.
If that shirt had a flavor, what flavor is that shirt? Is it a cherry or a fruit?
Come back to me.
Come back to you. Okay, it's either a sausage barbecue or possibly a berry of some sorts. A raspberry of some sort.
I was going to say some sort of berry that you'd find in a forest.
Your guys' answers are way different than mine. I was going to go 3 yards in a cloud of dust and punt on 4th down.
Go.
The NBA Finals, third on the docket this week. It'll be ever known as the number one. I think it'll be known as the Cramps game for LeBron, and second, it'll be known as the no air conditioner game for everybody else. If I would have told you a week before that LeBron James left in the fourth quarter because of cramps in his leg, your reaction would be what?
Wouldn't have been that surprised. It's happened before. Obviously, didn't expect the air conditioning out, and I attribute to a lot of his weakness and cramping up there, but wouldn't have stunned me. I was kind of amazed. I know it's LeBron. He's the most talked about figure in the world right now, sports-wise. I'm still amazed how long a legs that story had and still had.
Whatever happens to LeBron, that's just times a million. Times a million.
Yeah, I probably would have had a cynical take on it, not knowing, that if we would have just said, yeah, LeBron had cramps, he missed the last 4 minutes of the game, I would have said, yeah, LeBron, what a wuss. But that's clearly, you watch the game, that's clearly not what happened. And like David mentioned, it seems like a lot of people forgot that LeBron does have a history of cramping up. And if you it seems like if you have a history of cramping up, you're more susceptible to it later. That seems to be the case with LeBron, and I'm just gonna go out there and say that I bet he doesn't cramp up in Game 2. I don't know if the Heat win, but I would expect LeBron to play pretty well.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the same like killer drive to the extent that Michael Jordan or Kobe do, but I think he's got enough of it that he's probably going to be able to finish Game 2 regardless of what happens.
I don't want.
Go ahead.
I don't want the Heat to win this series. I've said that I would rather see the Spurs win, but I would enjoy seeing LeBron, score 38 points, 35, 41 in the next 3 games and really take it over. Just because it's gotten pretty stupid with, I guess, people just hating on him when he's the best player in the game, and I'm over the decision. I don't know at what point I got over that. It was before these finals, but I'm if anybody's still hanging on to that, it's time to give that up because LeBron's moved on, and now everybody else really should too.
Took the words
I
out of
think
my
LeBron
mouth.
should probably. Oh, go ahead.
If LeBron's as good as I think he is, and a lot of other people do, tonight's one of those nights where he's going to go for 35, 12, and 8. I see a game like that. I see the Heat winning. It's going to be a close game. But it's one of those, this so-called legacy game. This is it, because there is one. Getting back in the series, taking back Miami 1-1, and have fun there.
Are Cramps overrated?
No, they're underrated. You ever woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a cramp that took you out of bed and scared the shit out of you? Try that on a basketball court when you're trying to play at a world-class level.
I've never had cramps. I've seen other people with them. They look painful. I've not ever had them though.
I've had the cramps that David describes. They're not any fun, and they can't be any fun when you're getting paid to do. I mean, on the biggest stage, to not be able to do what you really want to.
And if he just switched from Powerade to Gatorade, this probably wouldn't have happened in the first place.
Hello.
Boom.
So he has to drink Gatorade without the label on it.
I suppose he doesn't have to, but Powerade would be pretty.
Are they? I'm sure he could, but they're not. They don't have a special jug of Powerade for him.
Well, the NBA won't let him. I mean, the NBA won't let him drink Powerade, and Powerade won't let him drink Gatorade. With
what the hell's he drinking then?
He is drinking it because that's what they have on the bench.
Where's the pickle juice? Everybody says the pickle juice. That's the greatest thing of all time.
The Harrisburg football trainer isn't on the bench there.
The fun thing is it depends who you ask. If you ask someone over the age of 60, they'll say that you just put salt pellets on their tongue, and that's all they need.
So
I don't think that'd help.
a cramp, a sort of muscle of sorts. LeBron does not play. I would like to think I would go out there in Game 1 of the finals and virtually a tie game and limp my ass out there unless I have a broken leg or the Achilles that Kobe has or a sprained ankle like Isaiah Thomas had. I would hobble my ass out there, just stand in the corner like Mike Miller or Ray Allen, and just stand there and be a decoy for some amount of time.
Has Mike Miller had cramps for the last 5 or 7 years?
He was born with cramps, yes.
He has had meth for the last 5 to 7 years.
Trying to alleviate the pain of the cramps. It has not worked. It has not worked at all. Last year at this time we talked about the legacy bullcrap about LeBron and he really needs this, and Tim Duncan winning another one, that'd be really good for him. Put him in the top 5, top 10, whatever. The coaches in this series, what does this do for the coaches winning another title? Where does this put Popovich in the ranks of the all-time greats? And how many titles does Spoelstra have to win until he finally gets rid of that? Well, you've got LeBron and Wade and all these guys. He's got to get to 5 before he can go out on his own and say, I'm a decent coach. I'm Hall of Fame worthy. I've got enough rings to fill up each of my hands here. Popovich, where do you put him all time?
I think this would certainly help Popovich out a lot. I think whether it's right or wrong, I think a lot of people aren't going to give Spoelstra any credit as long as LeBron's there, that they're going to think it's all him. And obviously, you've got to say he's at least fairly good if they win the third in a row. But, with Popovich, if he wins this one, I think you'd have to – I'm trying to think in my head, what would that make? Would that make 5 or 6 for Popovich?
5.
5?
Yep.
That's not as many as Auerbach or Phil Jackson, but I think essentially you'd have to put him in that kind of category with 5. Especially being that they've got good players, but they didn't have at any point in time the absolute, no doubt about it, greatest player in the world like Phil Jackson did, or the Celtics had like 6 of those guys when Red Auerbach was there.
I think the one thing – go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, it's amazing to me that only 5 coaches in NBA history have more than 2 titles. That's, obviously the history goes back quite a ways, but and you got Phil Jackson and Auerbach that have 20 total, I believe. There's only 3 other guys that have more than 2.
I think the big thing, some of the guys that you mentioned, Red Auerbach, 11 titles, all with the same team. Phil Jackson, 11 titles, 2 different teams, both with, top 10, top 5 guys, all-time NBA. I think what helps Popovich is that he does this over, there's these 4 titles relatively all close, and then if he gets this one here, I think that kind of shows quite a bit that you have both the longevity and the ability to, the Spurs were never bad, but the ability to get back to the title and win. I think Spoelstra, he's already got multiple titles like David mentioned. At some point, he will get a chance to win with somebody else. He's not going to be with the Heat for the next 40 years if he chooses to coach. I don't know how long he'll coach, but
and even if he is, LeBron won't be there for the next 40 years.
LeBron won't be there for the next 40 years. So there's quite a bit of ability. I think if Eric Spoelstra wins, this one, he should get a fair amount of credit because it wasn't like they could just take, the Heat as they were, and obviously they lost the first time they were in the finals with Bosh, James, and Wade. And I would say he had a fair amount to do with the 2 titles they've won, and the third one they would win if they finish this off. But we all know he's not going to get much credit for that. So, he probably needs more to really solidify his legacy, but I would say 3 titles right here would do quite a bit.
Do you say college is more of a coach's game and the NBA is more of a player's game as far as who's winning championships?
Sort of. But you look at Phil Jackson and Auerbach, they got combined 20 titles. Obviously, that's going back in history. And Phil had Michael and Kobe, Shaq at the time in the early 2000s. But the college game is, 5 or 10 teams every year that are going to be there. So they have the 5 or 10 best coaches. So I guess over a long period of time, I guess college game probably is more of a coach's game.
I think it's more complicated than what Travis said, but I would essentially agree with that statement if you break it down to simplicity.
Break it down. Okay.
I would look at this year's champions, Connecticut, and not that Kevin Ollie is, one of the best coaches ever, but a lot of people think he's pretty good, and that wasn't a team that had a ton of stars. They had Shabazz Napier, they had a couple other really good players. I would say Kevin Ollie, good coach, a pretty decent team. That was one scenario where it worked out, but you can point to a lot of other programs where the coach has made a key difference. I would say John Calipari at Kentucky or Krzyzewski at Duke or even Jim Boeheim. Those are people that they've made their programs, they've made the teams the way they are, and I would say the coaches have a big impact.
Larry Brown in 04 with the Pistons, there's no Hall of Famers on that team. And I can't think of another team that doesn't have at least one Hall of Famer on it that's won a championship. You're going back a long
I can't off the top of my head.
If there is, it's in the 40s and the 50s because also was the Celtics and Lakers teams. They had multiple Hall of Famers, so maybe that's the only team. Maybe there's only 2 or 3 NBA teams that have ever won an NBA title without having at least one Hall of Famer on their team. So Game 2 tonight in about 2.5 hours here. I would say San Antonio, they probably need this more than Miami because if Miami gets this going back home for 2 more, I think that kind of swings the series Miami's way if they win tonight. Staying with the basketball, Flip Saunders, new head coach for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I like the move because nobody else wanted it. George Karl was my guy. I read that he wanted it. I read that they didn't talk to him, so stupid on Minnesota's part for not getting George Karl. But this is a temporary move, I feel. No more than 2 or 3 years for Flip Saunders there. Kevin Love's leaving town. Nobody wants the job. Whoever you're going to hire now anyway is going to be out the door in a couple years anyway, so what does it matter? So in that aspect, I like Flip Saunders taking this job.
I guess when you put it that way, it's not as bad. I don't think it looks good that Flip tried a bunch of people that frankly he couldn't get. He wasn't getting Tom Izzo. He wasn't getting Billy Donovan. I don't know why.
Smith? Where'd W. Smith go?
Tubby Smith, welcome back to the Twin Cities. Here's the Timberwolves. I think if it's just it very well could be just a 1-year thing. And I've heard other people propose that. I think Flip, he probably did truly have a sincere search, and they just wanted to, get a coach in there and go. I don't know about George Karl. I mean, obviously George Karl's a really good coach, but I'm not sure. I mean, the Wolves are a mess, and the sooner they trade Kevin Love, the better off they're going to be, because that means you can just move on. And now today you kind of had the rumblings from Ricky Rubio saying, well, I want to win too. Well, Ricky, you're not any good at shooting the basketball, so that's going to be a problem. I mean, this is a team that's in trouble because I don't know what will happen next, and I don't think Flip Saunders does either.
It's as simple as drafting Steph Curry, is it not? If you draft him,
it's obviously you can't go back, but that would be the piece that they certainly could have used. And here we are, 4 years later, 5 years later, and things are worse than they were then.
I think the one bright side, though, is that as the Clippers have shown, at least the Timberwolves are worth a lot more than everyone thought originally, so they've got that going for them.
Glenn Taylor's the one commonality between all of us. I don't really think Glenn Taylor's making any of the decisions, but he obviously wasn't employing the right people to make these decisions. And one of those people happened to be Flip Saunders. Well, how great is it that he's running things again? He's the one constant between all of this. He's the guy who signs off on all these hires. I don't know. Might be time to sell the team there, Glenn.
He just bought the paper, though. What's he going to do now?
Run the paper. Sell the team and run the paper. Because if we know anything, we know that newspapers are where the money's at.
That's right.
Don't tell that's a secret. Don't tell anybody that.
All right.
A former Timberwolves great, Rashad McCants, a future Hall of Famer, former North Carolina great, came out and said he was the sham that is North Carolina academics and how he just never went to class but still made all A's. And Roy Williams is shocked and stunned and he knew nothing about this. I mean, how could you? You're only the basketball coach. Why would you know anything about this? What do you have to say about Rashad McCants? This happens more than you would think. My story of SDSU academic shamery is geography class, the geography lab. Did any of you have the geography lab?
Oh, yeah, I took that, baby.
Yep.
And there were 2
You get a partner?
Yep. You get a partner. Yeah. Take an hour, fill
I wasn't even an athlete, and I didn't do all the work in geography lab.
You go to geography lab, you got a swimmer, you got a football player there, and they've got somebody else's paper from a year ago because it's obviously they use the same paper for years on end, and they just write off that, sheet off that, and nobody cares. It's a joke. So, obviously the schools really don't care because it goes on and it's not that hard to catch. So should we care? Because they're there to play basketball. Education doesn't matter. Should we care about this? Because they don't.
I think it just kind of depends what you're looking for. I mean, in general, you know, if you're at South Dakota State, you know, I would advise the people there to care a little bit because you're probably not going to play professional sports out of South Dakota State. If you're playing at North Carolina or Kansas or some school like that and you have no interest in getting a degree, I honestly don't have a problem with that academically. But at the same time, if you're someone who maybe wants to play in the pros but knows it's a long shot, I would advise you to try to do well enough that you can pass your courses and get your degree so you can go pro in something other than sports.
You should. That's a hell of a tagline. You should trademark that and sell that. Where does football indoors on a 50-yard field rank on the Hildebrand spectrum of professional sports? Here, a disc golfer. Here, NFL Hall of Fame.
It is ahead of the Dust V disc golf tournaments, but not dramatically higher.
Okay, very good.
Mostly because you don't get paid that much. You know, if they paid those guys like $140,000 a year, then I'd say, you know what? Aim for that. That's not a bad job. They don't get paid that much though.
They get paid like $50,000, I think. I mean, maybe
that's more than I thought. Now, I mean, it depends. There's different, you know, indoor leagues too.
Yeah,
I know the one in Sioux City does not get paid. I mean, I don't know if they even get paid $50 in Sioux City.
No, I'm guessing. I'm talking like the biggest arena leagues probably make 50 or 60, and then it's significantly lower from there.
Yeah.
The ruling there, a week or so ago, where the video game stuff, where the athletes get some chunk of money, tens of millions, but there's thousands of athletes, so it's going to be anywhere from $900 down to like $50 per guy. Is that a big deal as far as their rights and if they get paid for video games and then their likeness heading forward?
It's a big deal to me because they can't have college football video games anymore, and I'm still upset about that because I don't play that many. But that's been the only game I was going to get for sure, like over the last 4 years. And now I can't do dynasties anymore with new stuff, and I'm kind of upset about that. At the same time, I get why they're doing it, and I understand the legal reasons, and I get all that. But I'm selfish, so I want to be upset at them, and that's what I'm staking my claim at.
I'm also
selfishness.
I'm also selfish because NCAA 14 will be the last version, so that's a keepsake. And EA Sports has also come out and said that we were like 2 years away from really doing these, you know, extravagant dynasty things where you could build your stadiums and whatever. And you're like, well, that's a load of shit.
Do it. You should do it.
You know, if you're 2 years away from doing it, you might as well be 25 years away from it. Anyway. I don't, you know, if for the guys who feel like they got cheated, glad they're getting their $900. I don't remember who said, you know, well, there was somebody who's in the settlement who said, well, I'd rather have, you know, the game, to be honest. But if this is what makes them happy, I'm still holding out hope that at some point you'll have the game come back. It won't have any of the real teams or any of the real bowls or any of that stuff, but it will have some sort of recreation. And, you know, with what can be done in online communities and stuff, you'll have a pretty real representation of college football, even if it's not, you know, even if instead of Minnesota, it's, you know, some other name for a team in the northern central part of the United States.
Instead of Marcus Mariota, it'll be Marcus Luigiota, and they'll just do that with all the famous names.
Yeah.
Give me a rundown on this Super Bowl NFL bullshit. With the bowling alleys and the golf courses, and the NFL cannot pay for anything ever at any site for a Super Bowl game. And I very much dislike the NFL. If it wasn't for fantasy, a little betting, I wouldn't. I like to watch the Vikings. If it wasn't for those three things, I wouldn't give two shits or fucks about the NFL.
I really do like watching the NFL, but I go out of my way to make sure that they don't get as much of my money that I can hold on to as possible. Basically, they want golf courses, they want hotel rooms, they want parking spots, they want bowling alleys. I mean, literally anything. And I didn't realize last night that the Star Tribune got all 160 pages of this document, and I haven't even read through it all because I mean, honestly, I shouldn't care as much as I do, but it kind of does make me mad, considering just how greedy the NFL is. It's give me all this stuff for free, put on this event, and try to break even. It is ridiculous. I cannot wrap my head around it. And why would you want to be associated with this? I have no doubt that the economic impact for your bars, your restaurants, your hotels will be significant. It may be $100 million for the week leading up to the Super Bowl, but how will the investment that you spent all this stuff, more than $30 million, because that's what they have privately? I just don't think it's going to be worth what you really do end up putting into it. All these law enforcement officers that the NFL says, well, we're not paying for it, and oh, by the way, the ATMs in the stadium, yeah, change those out. We want the $3.50 transaction fee for every idiot who needs to get money out of the ATM. So, it's just dumb stuff like this that we're not interested in paying for it. If your turf is the wrong kind of grass, and well, you're gonna have to pay to replace the turf because our logo will slide right off that or whatever. It's just really dumb. It's really greedy, and so much for the NFL being a non-profit. They can't afford it.
A 4-day NFL draft. How much do you like that?
I hate it.
I think it's stupid. I think they should do 7 days. 1 day, prime time, each round. Let's just completely make this as ridiculous as we can. Don't you think people will turn in on prime time to see round 6, to see all those guys from Saginaw Valley State get drafted?
Damn it, Charlie! Now they're going to do that.
Yeah.
They actually weren't thinking of 7-day draft, but since Charlie Hildebrand and Sioux City thought of it, well, he loves the NFL. We're going to do it.
A 7th playoff team.
I'll joke. I would prefer they go back to just the 2 days like it used to be, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the cat's out of the bag.
A 7th playoff team in 2015. How excited are you for this?
Screw it.
Screw it, indeed.
I'm not super excited about it. I think the bottom line is it's just going to depend on the year. There will be some years where it makes sense, and there will be some years where it's like, why are we letting these two 8-8 teams, or this 8-8 team in the tournament or the playoffs that shouldn't be here? And then you'll also have years where you've got Arizona last year who's 10-6 or whatever. That's pretty good, and you think, oh well, this is interesting. It'll be like laws in Washington, D.C. There's some good and there's some bad, and no one's really happy, but no one's really super angry all the time either, and everyone's just kind of, whatever.
Unless you're 12-4, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Oh, good God.
You go down the list, 9-7, don't tell me you deserve to be in the playoffs because you won one more game.
12-4, you have 2 teams in every year.
Here, I think we got an interesting idea. Our Traxler, are you saying that you have to be, if you win your division and you're 11-5, you don't get in then?
No, I'm saying that if you're a wild card.
If you were saying that, I might get behind that. I think that'd be really interesting.
I would say that teams that are 11-5 have a claim to be in the playoffs. 10-6, and there's teams in front of you that got in and you didn't. Tough shit. I mean, I just don't. I don't see what the big deal is. There's going to be you have to take a line and keep people out. It's just like the NCAA tournament. Not everybody can get in. Sorry, Seth Greenberg and your goddamn Virginia Tech squad. You were 19-11 this year. You didn't play anybody in non-conference. Guess what? You're home for the 5th straight year. Jesus.
10-6 is only 4 games above 500. That's not all that impressive if you think about it.
It's not. It is not. 11-5 or bust.
It's the equivalent of a college football team finishing after its bowl game 8-5. We're just kind of I guess they weren't awful.
Why do I not believe Radio City Music Hall is booked to the max for April and May next year? Why do I not believe this?
Because of the NFL.
Because it's a bunch of bullshit. And why can't they just say, we want to take this event on the road? There's interest. We want the bowling alleys and golf, not only in early February, but God damn it, we want it in late April as well. Why can't they just say that?
Do they even rent out these buildings, or do they just say cities give it to us for free? And I bet now they do. Now that they have teams bidding on it, it's probably just like the Super Bowl. Back in the 90s, they probably actually had to reserve Radio City Music Hall. But now, you got 10 cities bidding on it. Yeah, give us these hotel rooms. Give us this building for free.
Tons of fun. Tons of fun. Hopefully no more NFL talk.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with it.
Until August. Twins, they lose today to Houston. I like Houston a lot. But the big news, Kendrys Morales, DH extraordinaire, headed to the Twins. We'll see when he can get things going. Big move, unexpected move, good move. Jason Kubel, he's out the door. I'm happy as a Twins fan to see them get a guy that's above average, spend some money on a good guy. Don't spend money on the Correas. Don't spend money on the Pelfreys. Spend money on the Moraleses and the Langhams. This is good. Are you as happy as I am?
I was pretty cynical about the Twins in the last few years, but I would say I do like the move, and I think as long as he's healthy enough to run and move around out on the field.
He's a DH.
Well, he does need to be able to get to second base at one time.
Just go straight past the mound to second base.
I wish he could, just cut across the infield. They don't let you do that, apparently. So as long as he can move about, I'm happy.
Good. Chris Parmalee, why does he still have a job?
Cardi loves him. It's a shitbag.
Should he have a job?
Fuck no.
Tell me what you know about Gordon, the shortstop, the Tom Gordon's kid, Dee Gordon's brother, the next 250 shortstop for the Twins. What do you know about this guy? Will he be any good?
He should be pretty good. He's a real solid fielder. A lot more power than his brother. Obviously, it doesn't take much. He's not much of a power guy. He's speed leading the majors and stolen bases this year. Really, 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 really good year for his brother. I don't know if it has something to do with Nick, but a prospect would probably be 2-3 years away. I think that he's going to be 260, 270 hitter, probably 10 or so home runs, and be a guy who wants to get on the bases that can swipe the base.
Louisville closer Nick Birdie throws 100 miles per hour. Any reason why he shouldn't be with the big club next year?
Well, actually, Gardenhire said, if he throws 103, there's no reason to have him in the minors. I actually like hearing that from the manager for once. So, if the Twins are still competitive in August, I would say there's a pretty good chance that he's on the team.
I'm looking at this here. He says he is pissed. Quote, I'm pissed that he was not picked earlier. He thought he'd be picked in the 20s or 30s, but he was not. Nathan Stack, and how are you?
Oh, just great.
We have some issues audio-wise. We have some feedback, like a son of a bitch, on your end here. Plug it in again. Take it out, plug it in. See what we got. I'm getting some hellacious goddamn gale force winds in my ears. What do we got here?
It's like we're in a spaceship.
Hello? It's the same, but oh well.
Hello?
Nathan Sacken, this Stanley Cup final, are you a fan thus far?
Can you repeat the question?
God damn, that's not good. The Stanley Cup final, are you a fan thus far?
I am going to 2 overtime games. Unfortunately, I did not see the game yesterday, but I did see it. And it was
have permission to
It's a little better. It's getting a little better. What do you got? You got good?
Am I good? Yeah, I'm good. I can hear you.
All right. That's so much better now.
It is a little bit better.
You sounded like the National Weather Service guy issuing a tornado warning.
You would know about that. There was one in your area this week.
There was. I'm familiar with the guy. The NBA Finals is called the NBA Finals because it's the finals of the NBA. There's more than one game. I don't know where he went. There it is. The NBA Finals have an S behind it. Keith Olbermann did a big thing. The Stanley Cup Final, no S. Do they just play one game or do they play multiple games? And why is there not an S? Why is this not the Stanley Cup Finals? Why is this just the Stanley Cup Final?
It's the Stanley Cup Finals because there's more than one game in the series. Unless you're talking about the series as one, then I can see where they would want to call it Stanley Cup Final or NBA Final. But there is more than one game, last I checked.
So it should be the finals, not the final. I call it the Stanley Cup Final. I don't like it.
It's because whoever wins it, the Canadians go because they won it, and that's final now, eh?
Nice.
And that's it.
I'm glad we got clarification on this.
It's not even an old thing either. Like, they started using Stanley Cup Final in 2006. It's not like it dates back to 1930 and they've always called it the final. No, Keith
Olbermann had a hell of a segment on it.
It was good. It was really good.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
I did not.
That's worth.
It wasn't Mike and Mike, so you didn't see it.
Olbermann, shut up, Traxler.
Hanging on him. I don't want to have to get the Coob in here to separate you two sons of bitches there. Jeepers. Nathan Stackin, we took some. First off, have you heard the ratings for the Belmont?
I have not. No, were they good?
They were pretty good. Would you like to take a guess at how many people watched the horse race yesterday?
I'm going to say 13.3 million.
How many people watched the hockey game preceding said horse race?
I will guess 9.2.
The Stanley Cup Final had 6.4. What did the Belmont have? Do you want to change your guess at all? You guessed 13.3.
I'll guess 10 million then.
It had 20.6 million people.
Ouch for hockey.
How stunned are you? How ashamed are you that 3 times as many people, 2/3 of the people, saw the race, then they saw the hockey game and said, "We're done with this. We're not watching this. We came here for the horses," and they switched the channel once the hockey started.
It's a little painful, but actually the ratings, 6.4 million for New York and LA, that's not very good either. So I really have nothing to defend on this here other than it should be a little disappointing for NBC, especially knowing that they had such a big crowd or a big audience for the Belmont. You would have thought you would have been at least been able to entice a few more millions of people to stay for the hockey game.
Yeah, but you have the post-race show, and Bob Costas has to ride the horses, so that takes a while. And I mean, it's never as easy as just, well, we're bringing you the hockey now.
True. 15 million watched the basketball game the other night. We had some sort of discussion about. I would take the highest rated NBA Finals game and put that up against the 2 highest rated hockey games. I think the basketball game would be more.
I agree with you.
Kings up 2-0. Where do you see the series going? Traxler, I believe, had the Kings winning now in 5.
I still think that the Kings win in 6, only because the Rangers have had 2 2-goal leads in each game in this series so far. So they just need to figure out a way to keep putting the pedal to the metal, and then they'll win. I don't know what's wrong with King Henrik, but he needs to figure it out. The third period is where they really start to lose it. The Kings came back last night, tied it up. They did, they peppered Lundqvist in Game 1, outshooting the Kings 20-3. So the Rangers, I think, have to do a better job in the third period of generating more offense and finding a way to score a goal. And Lundqvist has to figure it out, too, because this isn't the same Lundqvist we saw throughout the playoffs.
Would you believe me if I said we did trivia already?
I would believe you, yes.
We did not.
I know. I figured you didn't, but I would not put it past you.
Okay. Before we get to the trivia, Mr. Schottenkirk, U.S. Open first. What do we got? Tiger Woods or the field, sir? Tiger Woods or the field this year? Who is it?
No, there's not a Tiger Woods in the field this year. I'm kind of depressed.
Still wants to take Tiger.
I still do. I still do.
Make the cut. Does Tiger Woods make the cut?
Yes, he's going to make the cut. Make it
Nice,
interesting. He's going to make it on the number and have everybody happy. But
Good for golf if he makes the cut.
yeah, excellent for ratings, and that's what we're all here to
Is this
discuss.
similar to with John Cena making a surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble? Tiger Woods making a surprise entrance in the U.S. Open.
I would shit myself if he showed up in the first tee on Thursday. I would.
Okay.
So that should explain for everything you want to know about that.
We got U.S. Open, the winners, favorites, sleepers, course, weather, all of it.
I've got all of it ready to go for you. It's supposed to be in the high 80s, mid 90s all week. It looks like it's going to rain quite a bit. You being in Charlotte for a while, know the weather down there in the summertime. I'm assuming.
It can get humid, and humid. So, yeah.
Right. If it does rain quite a bit, there's going to be set up. The way they got it set up this year, because the men's Open starts this week, the women's U.S. Open is at the same facility the week after. So they're going to be awfully careful if it doesn't rain to not get it too dry and have it shitty for the women the week after. The conditions this year are going to be the most interesting I've ever seen. This will be my, I think, 16th U.S. Open in a row. I'll be there in person. The fairways are wider than they usually are. There's less traditional rough, 3-4 inch thick rough. It's not going to be there this year. It's going to look more like a British Open. Wider fairways, like I said, they're going to have native areas with grasses after you off that. So you're going to have, if you do miss the fairway, it's going to be the most costly you'll ever see in the U.S. Open. With the greens that they have, it could be a wild week if it dries out. As far as people that I like, there's 5 guys I think have a chance to win. Already got narrowed down to 5 winners. I have Jason Day, who was in good form recently. He got hurt. He's coming back. He's been playing decently. Course sets up nice. Been putting all right. It's going to be a key this week to hit the greens. Bubba Watson, probably the best one of his life. Won the Masters. Won another time out in California in a couple of seconds. It's a course that's wide enough and it's long enough where his distance is going to be okay as long as he doesn't hit it off the property. Phil Mickelson, obviously we know his history at Pinehurst. He's been there both times and almost won it in '99. What's that? 3 guys. I got one more than my pick to win. One more guy to keep an eye on is Henrik Stenson. Having pretty good form in the Swede. Of course, that sets up well for him, especially with the lack of traditional rough. He can afford to spread a little bit and be just there at the end as long as he can putt. Again, all this comes down to conditions. If it dries out, usually a lot of other guys that are in contention that wouldn't be otherwise. But my pick to win, and Marcus hates it, wants to kill me for it, is Sergio Garcia. It would be a shock to a lot. But if he wins, I would not be surprised in the least.
What's the score to win?
Last time around, I think it was even, and then '99 it was -1. I'm expecting the same. If the rain comes like they say it's going through all week, it could go quite a bit lower. And if it rains a lot early in the week, we could see 6-8 under par win it if the greens stay a little bit damp. But my winning score right now would be a range from +1 to about -2.
40-1 odds on Sergio give me DA points at 250-1. I'll put a nickel on that. Got picks. McIlroy's your favorite. Mickelson and Adam Scott. Stagger Woods is a 15-1 favorite. I don't know why the hell this shows up here. Spieth at 20-1. Jason Day at 25-1. Kuchar 25-1. Stenson at 30-1. Picks. Is it going to be a favorite? Is it going to be DA points? Who's it going to be?
Because David contractually obligates me to also have numerous picks ready.
That's right.
I do have a few. Did you say Dustin Johnson?
I did not. I gave you that one earlier, though. So
I do like Dustin Johnson. One of those guys who can hit the ball long and with a little bit wider fairways might have a chance. Plus the chance to see Paulina Gretzky around the 18th hole on Sunday. Hello. Also Martin Keimer. Where were you looking at for your odds there, Mr. Kriens?
VegasInsider.com, something I Googled here real quick.
Okay.
It was
according to Bovada, 28-1 on Martin Keimer. I would say keep an eye on him if you like your odds. There are no exactas, I believe, for the U.S. Open, but if you were to have one, I would also have Jimmy Walker at 50-1. I mean, Jimmy Walker got off to a really good start earlier this season. It'll be interesting to see what he can do. And if you're looking for somebody who played well the first time around and then saw it all go to crap, you could take Phil Mickelson, but I will say Luke Donald, who was on the leaderboard on the first day in 2005. So
on your site, D8 Points isn't even on there. Is he even in the goddamn thing here?
I don't think so.
That's disappointing.
Let me look real quick.
That really puts a... Miguel Angel Jimenez 100-1. Mark me down.
There you go.
Oh, that's who I was gonna say him and Angel Cabrera. Those would be my two picks.
Put $10 on him, you'll be a rich man.
I think we lost Kriens.
It doesn't seem to be going well with the connections here.
So I guess it's trivia on our own then, without Kriens. This will be much more difficult.
Travis Kriens, rest in peace.
He did.
Travis Kriens and Jason Kubel in less than a week. What's South Dakota going to do?
South Dakota's two favorite sons.
Yeah, we're screwed now. And Bob Barker's old. I mean, we got nothing left.
This is getting bad. Tom Brokaw, he's coming back to South Dakota this week.
Oh, boy.
So is Obama.
No, he's not.
Well, he's
I don't think Obama's from South Dakota. I could be wrong.
Obama, he visited Mitchell in 2008.
All the places to visit in South Dakota, I don't know if that'd be the one I'd go to.
It is.
Granted, I've never ran a presidential campaign either, so.
It doesn't seem like an ideal location for votes.
Yeah. You think it'd be like, well, Sioux Falls, Rapid City, that's it. Don't need it anywhere else. But
don't ask me to come anywhere else.
No. Nowhere else. If they don't have 60,000 people, I'm not going.
Yeah, he's never visited South Dakota while sitting as a president, so.
What's Stack and think of U.S. Open?
I don't know. I would love to. You know what? Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, or Phil Mickelson. Those would be one of the three guys that I would like to see win. I don't know. Do you like seeing all the low score or these like +1, -1 winning it? I kind of like to see some higher scores. You like? Okay.
I like +5. +5 or higher is good for me. The worst. I
think it's fun to occasionally have the really difficult course.
I love it. Every other week it's -10 winning or -20 winning the.
Well, I don't want -20, but I wouldn't mind seeing 6 or 7 under.
No, give me +2 every time.
If you've got a guy at +7 and he's 3 off the lead, that's a good day.
Yeah, I was going to say, they should make it of their 4 majors, and then let's go the next 4 biggest ones after that. That one of them +4 should win, and one of them -25 should win. They have one course that's far too easy and one that's far too difficult.
Is there any consideration here putting the NFL nobody, that's 11-5 can win the goddamn thing? Anybody that's what's the deal? Anybody 10 under? If you're not at least 10 under, you can't win. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
At a regular PGA Tour stop, that would be something, but not a major.
The cut
regardless of the cut line.
The cut is 10
under, whether it's everybody or nobody.
Only 18 guys make it to Saturday because the cut is at -10.
There you go. The World Cup. When's Saturday? You got something?
Nope, I don't. I just said it wouldn't be bad to have 18 people on Saturday. It'd be less golfers I have to keep track of then.
World
so
Cup.
You can really focus on those 18.
World Cup. When does this start?
Thursday. 3 Brazil against someone.
Croatia.
Glad you know your stuff.
It's on ESPN. I know. Oh, I know.
Thursday. Oh.
challenge that Golden Gopher fan has drummed up here. What does this consist of? What do I need to know? Should I care? What should I care about here?
You should care. If nothing else, just for the great storylines. Brazil, literally the weight of nation is on them. If they don't win, well, last time they hosted in 1950, they lost in the final, basically, to Uruguay, and people killed themselves after that. So,
they literally ended their lives.
They did. Yes. Their fans ended their life in
not hyperbole. That happened for real.
That is not hyperbole.
I believe that. Wow.
There is a lot of pressure. 2014, considering that Brazil has spent a crap load of money to bring the World Cup to Brazil, and people want FIFA quality hospitals and schools and public transportation instead, rather than a tournament. So if things don't go well for Brazil, I could foresee this potentially ending in riots. The other two South American teams to watch, Uruguay with my favorite Luis Suarez, who could kill somebody on the pitch, or he could score 6 goals and be a hero. And also Argentina, who Lionel Messi, obviously a lot of pressure on him to deliver, because this is almost a home game or home tournament for the Argentinians. I think there's a lot of pressure on Spain, considering they won the European Championships in 2008 and 2012, and they are the defending World Cup champions in 2010. I have them going out in the quarterfinals. I also think that, well, now don't shake your head now, David. Come on, stay with me. And I also think Belgium, of the top 8 seeds, they are my sleeper. I have them getting to the semifinals. But I do have, and I have the bracket here that I will share with you, if I can pull it up.
Oh my, we're sharing screens.
Yes. Hang in there, fans.
Put your protection on.
This will be the first time I've ever looked at a soccer bracket in my life. So you should feel honored, Dracula.
So there are 32 teams in this tournament, and I have the 16 here that are going to make it. I do have the United States getting out of their group. I think they beat Ghana, and they tie. Well, I don't know. I don't remember what I had. I think I have them tying Portugal and somehow getting out with 4 points.
You got to put the goddamn score in there too.
No, you don't. No, this is just a different example. The one we have, the Sports Lounge pool we have, you just have to pick the top 2 in each group that you think will advance, and then once you have it narrowed down to 16, you're just picking the teams that you think will advance to the final. So you really don't need to know a ton. You just need to know. I can pull up my version if people want to see that of what we're using on the pick. Maybe.
So this starts Thursday. What is there? One game Thursday? So one match on Thursday?
Just one on Thursday. Yes.
Doesn't the opening, whoever hosts has that all by themselves?
Yep.
Is that how that works?
That is how that works. Very good.
Did you say that it was Uruguay back in the 50s when they hosted it?
Yeah, so it is a little interesting that I do have those same 2 teams meeting again.
Match made.
But yeah, there is the bracket. There is the bracket that you can use to select. I think England will have a good World Cup. They'll get out of their very challenging group with Uruguay and Italy, and I think they get to the quarterfinals where they'll crash out against Brazil, probably in unceremonious fashion. France, I like them. I think Switzerland, one of the higher-seeded teams, will barely get out of their group. I had gone back and forth with Mr. Schottenkirk about not getting them out of the group at all, but I have decided to let them get through. So that's basically that. I'm very excited for this to be a potentially very exciting World Cup. And the United States, I mean, well, let's face it, there is a good chance that they don't get any points and don't advance. And I think a terrific failure like that would also be quite captivating, even though the U.S. really can't afford to have that happen.
Well, Josie Altidore needs to pick up his game like he did in the last friendly against Nigeria yesterday, scoring 2 goals.
2 goals. What more do you want out of him?
Like I said, I'm just saying he needs to keep it up.
Like he did against the whoever they played.
He did against Nigeria. I said he needs to keep doing that, Trax.
By the way, how embarrassing for Nigeria. You got to get your shit together because they are in a very easy group with Argentina. Argentina is going to be the team to get through, but it's between them and Iran and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Nigeria, this is your chance for African stardom.
They don't have a chance.
They don't have a chance if they play like they did against the United States. And also, speaking of Africa, Cameroon has threatened not to go to the World Cup because they may not be paid enough by their government, and I think that is just delicious. If they
are boarding the plane. That's what their head coach or the manager had told some Germany Sports 1 last night.
I'm just going to act like there's a chance that they may not go because considering how hard these countries work to actually make the World Cup, it'd be quite funny to see a team go on strike 6 days before the tournament and not go at all.
How many times has an African country made it out of group play?
A lot.
A lot. Okay.
Is Husqvarna
Go ahead.
Charlie Hildebrand.
Or I was just going to ask if this, who you said Cameroon threatening to go on strike, has this gained anything, or is this just kind of falling on deaf ears? Everyone's like, yeah, we don't care if Cameroon plays or not.
Well, they're in the group with Croatia, Brazil, and Mexico, so their odds of making out of the group are pretty low. So I think a lot of people don't really care if they come at all because it's very likely they won't get any points. So yeah, it's probably falling on deaf ears, and they're probably going to end up at the tournament anyway. But it would be real fun to see a team forfeit because they wanted extra money. So
not much of a time difference, is there?
No, only 1 hour ahead of the East Coast, so 2 hours ahead of here, and the games in our time zone 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. daily, and then on the weekends 8 p.m. as well. So that's pretty exciting for, I may very well plan my lunches around that, and considering the U.S. plays twice at 5 o'clock, that's pretty good. So
I'm going to plan my naps around that. When it's on, I'll be napping.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Agreed.
Man. You could just say, you could just say, well, I'm going to take a nap during the game.
No, I would do that.
Okay, all right.
I just to let Stack know, I would much rather watch the hockey than the soccer.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. To each their own. I mean, this is the big tournament. So
this is the one. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm excited. I think there's not many chances where people can just jump into the game. You can complain all you want about English soccer or Spanish or Champions League. I don't really care about those teams. But this is just like the Olympics to me, at least. Where
and I hate the Olympics. I hate anything to do with rah rah go country go.
That's fine. But there's a lot of people who are going to jump into the USA thing just because it's the United States. And so if you moderately like the Olympics, you should like the soccer just because everybody else will probably be doing it.
I would like if it weren't boring.
I call those Olympic fans and people that are going to jump in non-sports fans. If you're just jumping in and you don't follow it, go to hell. So
wow.
There you go.
Bold.
We'll pick the winners here. I'll pick Husqvarna to win the whole damn thing. So.
That's interesting, Husqvarna.
Yeah. Since they're not even in the deal, and they're not even a country. So before we get to the trivia, I want to talk about Annette Bosworth because I love it too much. What perjury charges? Because to run for office in the state, you have to get signatures, thousands and thousands of signatures, and you have to be present when these people sign this paper saying yes, they endorse you, they approve of you running for office. And she was not there when all of these signatures were signed. And I don't know what her issue is because this seems pretty clear to me that she wasn't there when these were signed, and that's against the law.
Well, even if you aren't there, you at least have to make it look like you might have been there.
You can't be out of the country for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, well she was not even in the country because it's one thing to have your campaign people out collecting these signatures for you, even though it would technically be illegal. Let's say somebody's in Del Rapids and I'm in Sioux Falls and at least I'm close or within striking distance. No, you can't be 4,000 miles away. That's a problem.
Perjury's not a good charge to get. Perjury's serious stuff. This isn't the jaywalking of crimes where they go, nah, whatever, not a big deal. Perjury's serious stuff.
What is her issue with this?
That it's happening to her.
Yeah, she hasn't really denied this. She has said she did not unknowingly break the law. So that's that. Unknowingly, I believe, is the key word in her statement there. I don't know where this goes from here. I don't see any other outcome besides some penalty of some fine, and she'll pick up some paper on the interstate ditches. But well, and I enjoyed her weekly press conference this week for no reason, where she actually had a mic stand of sorts, a table. She didn't have 7 things in her hand, so that was nice to see. But I did appreciate she bought the slurs behind her, the X-rated graffiti, a little cardboard cutout of that, so to speak, to put as a backdrop behind her. So I thought that was classy and a good deal. Will she go away after this? Can we just put her in a box and say, go away somewhere?
I hope.
No, because now, I mean, it would have been one thing if she would have just lost the election and that would have been the end of it, but now because, well, perjury, like Charlie said, no small feat, and so now we're going to be...
It's a federal crime.
It is a federal crime, and we're going to be hearing quite a bit of her, and probably from her as well, until she gets put in the pen. I mean, it's quite amazing, not only the fact that she finished 4th in a 5-person race, but just how unceremoniously she's done it all with these weird press conferences and blaming the media, but then needing the media to get her dumb words out of her face. It's really pretty impressive.
I think the bottom line is...
Yeah.
I think the bottom line with politics is if you're going to do something where you break the rules, you need to have built up political capital and enough followers and allies that you can get away with stuff. I don't know of anything wrong with Mike Rounds off the top of my head, but he might be able to get away with something like this because there's a lot of people in the state that like Mike Rounds. Nobody knows who this lady is. You can't have nobody know who you are and get away with doing something like this. That's like basic politics.
The one thing I'll say is I think it's funny all this is happening, but I really cannot stand to look at her face. It makes me uncomfortable. I just don't like it, and it always seems like she's up to no good, and it's appealing that it truly is the case. Because when you're blaming everybody else for your problems, that just makes me uncomfortable.
Explain to me this liberal media in the state of South Dakota, which is redder than a sunburn in July. Explain this to me. I know you have the big outlets such as the Register and the Hartford Herald of sorts, and the Argus and Kello rule the roost. I mean, what is she talking about?
Well, South Dakota actually does have conservative and liberal bloggers, and media, not. I mean, I think she's counting these bloggers though.
Hey, Traxler, look at the picture.
I see that. It makes me uncomfortable. My God. See, I can't even mention I can't even think of what I was going to say.
That was the point.
She doesn't. She can't differentiate between bloggers and actual media people, can she?
No, she can't. She can't differentiate between the two, and again, that is a problem. I
think the real problem is that we're talking about someone who couldn't even finish in the top 2 in a primary in the first place.
Yep. I mean, when you I think journalists, they strive for fairness, and she didn't see the way people were treating her relatively fairly.
Who? I mean, I want her to give me one example of an actual media member, not somebody posting on a comment section of an article, a legitimate media member, radio, TV, newspaper, whatever, that says, like, you're not significant enough to comment on, even though we've spent the last freaking half hour on it. I mean, what I'm trying to understand the thought process here, but something's missing.
You can't understand it, though. That's your mistake, because she's going to go to jail for perjury, which is lying in the first place. So,
I mean, even South Dakota's conservative radio people, I mean, I would call a certain few in Sioux Falls of being that, have given her plenty of opportunities to clear her name and, like, come back to the normal crazy, not crazy area. And she's passed those. She said even more crazy things. I would say even the Argus Leader in giving, every time she's had a press conference, they've streamed it. And every time she's gotten up there...
Baby, hits.
Yes, and I don't blame them one bit for doing it. Every time she's had a press conference, she's had a chance to sort of back away or not say as controversial things. And she just piles on to the next crazy thing that she just said. And, like, just setting fire to everything behind her and not caring at all. And that's fine, but she has, like you said, like Charlie said, no political capital to bench any of this on. South Dakotans, I mean, they really like the Republicans, but they need people that aren't crazy. And that's the only reason Mike Rounds is going to get elected. He's not crazy. He's likable.
If you're Fox News, what is the... Dare I use the goddamn term newsworthiness of putting her on the air?
There is none.
Thank you very much.
Are you kidding me? It's hilarious to break someone news on live TV that they lost when they didn't know that and thought they were going to win.
Yeah, but bringing her on in the first place is not worthy of my time.
I really wish...
It's a primary. Primaries aren't worth anyone's time in the first place anyways.
I know that the Daily Show has some time to burn in the summer, and I feel like this would have been a good way to kill 5 or 6 minutes on just stupidity. I know people nationally don't care about little dumb things going on in South Dakota, but just the way to chronicle it all would have been pretty funny.
Never know. They could pick it up this week.
You have what's our friend? We had him actually on the podcast there over a year ago talking MMA. The one crazy
Steve Hickey.
Steve Hickey, yeah, he was on the Daily Show there, a little 10-second clip there at the end.
Yep.
And I feel like these two are a nice pair since they're both, they're out of their minds, and it's bad.
Great.
Bad. Absolutely. I'm trying to find how many actual votes she had. It was in the lower thousands. Here we go. What do we got? She actually had 4,200 people vote. Nathan Sackett, how much should I be worried that 4,200 people in this state that I was born in said, I think this person is the best of the 5 on the ballot. I want my check mark to go towards her.
Okay, take out friends and family first, and then you just have to worry about
everyone else was people from her hometown.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I would be extremely worried apart from the family and friends in her hometown.
There's like 800,000 people in the state. Let's pretend that half are Republican and half are Democrat. So that's 400,000. And let's pretend only half of each vote. That's 200,000. That's 4,000 out of 200,000 out of the 800,000 in the state. I guess I'm not worried at all in the first place.
It only takes one crazy person to rise to power. Look at Hitler.
Thank you.
Great comparison.
Hitler's different. I don't think that's going to work in the United States. You want me to give you a history lesson later off air stack, and I can do that. But I don't think someone from South Dakota is going to become supreme ruler and dictator of the United States. I don't think you have to worry about that, especially because she's going to jail for perjury. So
72,000 people voted for the Senate primary. Piss poor by all accounts voter turnout.
It was the rain.
It was the rain. I'm a fan whenever voter turnout is low because it's a crock of shit and I don't care. I enjoy that.
Okay, well, of the 5 of us, I've voted like in 2 presidential elections. I've never voted in a primary. Have you guys voted in one?
Traxler voted.
I voted this
I don't because I mean it's either you can look and you can see whoever's, and if you want to, that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but in primaries so often it's like, well, this isn't even the big deal at the end, and I just don't care for primaries.
I enjoy that.
It's like preseason football to the regular season.
Nice. That's a terrific analogy. I I like that people complain a lot about Congress and their approval ratings in the teens, and yet 90% of them get reelected. That, I feel, if I got to give one example of how goddamn stupid America is, that there is my go-to statistic.
Amen.
Somehow, 85% of the people disapprove of this group, yet 90% of them get reelected. That is an
because you can only vote for your own. Most people like their own but hate the other one, and they don't follow that closely in the first place.
Yeah, people have no idea. They don't know they vote. So, terrific. Trivia time now as we go into to overtime. Charlie, Marcus, Stack, and David in that order. One of each. What? Charlie, he got all three right last time. Schottenkirk got all three right as well, live from the Boston airport. They believe Marcus and Stacken each got one right. Is that correct?
I got two.
Stacken got two.
He's cheating already.
No, he got two. Marcus got one, and I believe Amin a DNF. So he'll have one, and it's not raining hard enough for the golf to not happen today. So we'll just say he's got one. Mr. Hildebrand, one of each. What will you start with? You cannot do obviously not do the teams we did last week. So.
Okay. I might not remember all the ones we did last week. I'll try not to say any. If that's incorrect, someone will have to stop me.
And if you do pick a team that's already been picked, you are disqualified for the rest of the game. So.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
I
guess NFL-wise, Darty did my favorite NFL team. I don't like them, but they're good historically. So maybe I can remember some guys. I guess I'll go with the Cowboys. And you probably know this, but just to clarify, I mean the ones in Dallas. Sorry, northern Texas or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, there's no team in Dallas.
Yeah, in Arlington.
Cowboys, who is it?
I had a little feedback. You're going to have to repeat the question, please.
The all-time leader in the passing yards for the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going to go with Roger Staubach.
It was Troy Aikman.
It was Troy. That was one of my two guesses. I guess we're wrong.
I finally missed one. Tony Romo will pass him this year. So there you go. Marcus Traxler.
I have no idea which teams weren't picked last week. NFL, I will take the Kansas City Chiefs.
Who's their all-time leading rusher?
Priest Holmes?
Priest Holmes is their all-time leading rusher. Very good.
He had that 5-year run when he was really good.
That's the only guy I could think of that's been there for 5 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they've been pretty erratic at running back.
Ricky Stanzi at number 5. So.
Ricky Stanzi, number 5 all-time leading rusher. Go Chiefs.
Mr. Stacken.
Yeah, did we do the Rockies last week?
Yep.
Did we?
Yep.
I took it. Right.
Diamondbacks?
It might have been during the test round, actually.
I believe the Rockies are available. Would you like to stick with the Rockies?
I'll stick with the Rockies.
They've had one guy be named MVP in their team history. Who is that one guy?
Todd Helton?
Larry Walker.
Oh.
Larry Walker is the one guy. Mr. Schottenkirk going for a perfect game here. You are 3 for 3. A chance for the outright lead.
I give you the Arizona Cardinals.
There was a receiver who caught a touchdown at the end of the 03 season and knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. What was the name of that receiver?
Fuck me.
That's not it.
That was actually his middle name.
It was actually Tommy Fuck Me. It was.
It's not going to. I have no idea.
Any takers?
Is it Anquan Bolden?
Nate Poole is correct. Yes, Mr. Traxler. Because you stole it, you get all of Schottenkirk's points.
Yes.
So you now have the 20 points.
Shit, Schottenkirk.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
So we had
I tried to erase that from my memory, but thanks for bringing it up again for the millionth time last time.
No!
Paul Allen's calls me, bringing my head to the next one.
If we were a good show, we would have had that queued up already.
Yeah, we would have.
Here we go. Technical director tracks are working on that. So we got things tied at 3 here. We got Nathan at 2. We got Traxler at 2. So we got a Donnybrook going here.
Here we go.
Hildebrand.
Let's see. I guess I'll probably go. Did we do the Yankees already?
No.
I'll do the New York Yankees. I watched some of baseball by Ken Burns, so maybe I can remember some old stuff.
This is an old question.
Okay.
The first year of Yankee Stadium, the original Yankee Stadium, was 1923. What was the name of the groundskeeper? No, serious question.
Okay, I was gonna say you could give me 30 years and an internet subscription for 5 years, and I wouldn't be able to find that.
This player hit the first home run in Yankee Stadium.
Well, I mean, right or not, I feel like I'm obligated to guess Babe Ruth, but it probably was it Babe Ruth or was it Lou Gehrig? Ruth is my official answer.
You're correct.
It was Ruth.
Yes, they beat the Red Sox 4-1.
Ouch. They really didn't get the better end of that trade, the Red Sox.
They did not. They did not. Marcus Traxler.
Has anybody had the St. Louis Cardinals?
You're going with the football St. Louis Cardinals, I assume.
No. I'm going with the
Nope,
baseball version of them Cardinals.
Who was the last St. Louis Cardinal to win a batting title?
Ooh. Come on, Cardinal fan.
The Yankees of the National League. There you go.
You should have the Jeopardy music.
I'm going to go with Albert Pujols. I know that's wrong.
It is Albert Pujols back in 2003. He hit 359. So
Good.
That's pretty good.
Keeping pace. Nathan Sacken to keep pace. Don't be.
I will be in last after this one.
Don't be California Chrome. Don't finish 4th here.
Don't be France. Don't give up already, Stacking. The game is young.
I keep picking the wrong franchises. I'm going to go the Orlando Magic.
That's your team, though. That is your team.
Used to be. Back in the day. Anthony Hardaway.
How many stripes are on their jersey? Their all-time points leader. Who is that?
Can you repeat the question?
Who scored the most points ever for the Magic?
Stripes on the jersey. Go.
Oh.
Their all-time leading scorer. Most points ever.
I feel like it happened recently. Shad Lewis.
Interesting guess. To be fair, is that the correct answer?
No, it is not.
It's not. And to answer your first question, there are actually 19 every player who had promised to stay there and then left in free agency.
What else here? It is Dwight Howard.
I would have guessed Shaq.
I didn't think it would have been him.
That was a tough question because like all their good players are there for 4 years and then leave.
This is correct.
Rashad Lewis played probably less than 250 games with him. He was there for like 3 years. Give me the Seattle Mariners.
Okay, what the hell is the thing here? Where's my list? Seattle Mariners. Who is their career ERA leader?
Is there an innings limit on that, or?
7 innings. I would a couple hundred innings.
Career ERA. Got 2 guys that I'm thinking of. Still Felix.
Felix Hernandez is correct.
It's not Randy?
It's not Randy Johnson.
That was the other guy.
Randy!
Felix, then. Felix is doing pretty well.
We got 4 on the bends here. Schottenkirk and Charlie each have 4, stacking with 2, Marcus with 3. Final question this week. Charlie Hildebrand, you picked the baseball and football. I think we need a basketball team.
Jeez. Let's see. This is probably an awful idea, but there was a point in time when Chris Webber was there. I was a Sacramento Kings fan, so let's do the Kings.
Don't guess Rashawn Lewis.
There are 4 answers to this question. There are 4 answers to this question. The Sacramento Kings, they have been in many different cities. I need you to name 2 of the 4 places they used to call home.
2 of the 4 that they used to call home?
Yes.
So I can't count Sacramento as one?
No.
Okay. There was a point in time I did know some of these. I'm trying to remember and remember quickly so I don't sit here for forever thinking about it. Was one of them Kansas City?
One of them was Kansas City. Yes.
And then after that, this is really difficult now. I'm just trying to think of a random place that used to have a team and doesn't anymore. Let's take a stab in the dark and go Oklahoma City, even though that's probably not right.
This was incorrect.
Yeah. I don't know.
One of them?
I didn't want to sit around for 10 minutes thinking.
I think I might have the other 3.
Stack, and what did you have?
I said Cincinnati.
Yes.
Yes.
Rochester's another one.
Yes. The third one,
weren't they technically Kansas City / Omaha in the 70s too?
Yes, Omaha was the other one.
Yeah.
Yes. How that happens, I don't know. How you are Kansas City / Omaha, and it's not a Hurricane New Orleans situation. I'm not sure how that works.
Let's do it again.
2 cities, 3 hours apart.
Falls. Let's share an NBA team.
There's an NBA team in Sioux Falls. I might actually go to like 4 NBA games a year then.
We're sharing Sioux Falls, Sioux City. We're sharing the team.
Oh, well, then I'll go to 12 if it's in Sioux City then. I mean, I might have to cover one even.
The Sioux Falls Bismarck squad. Marcus Traxler, what have you picked? You picked...
I picked all Minnesota teams last week.
What did you pick this week? What do you have left?
I have NBA left.
I have NBA.
I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets.
You son of a bitch. God damn it. If you get it wrong, I'm gonna slap you through the internet.
Let's go. Give me one.
Where the hell is it here? Did I even do one for the Nuggets? Yes. Who's their coach?
Who is their coach? Is that really the question?
Yeah.
God damn it. I know this too.
Yeah.
I would expect Schottenkirk to know. I think Schottenkirk knows this.
I got this one on lockdown, fucker.
I always pick the wrong franchises.
See, it's a matter. I mean, you got to be.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't have a clue who it is, Traxler. So.
Former Laker.
Some questions are easy. Some questions are difficult. I don't know.
You can't help me. I know.
I know everyone else's questions but my own.
We should do just a
Brian Shaw.
You bastard.
How do you spell that?
Regular normal spelling Brian Shaw. S-H-A-W.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So you have tied for the lead 4 apiece. We have a
Did
Hell of a
Ryan
deal.
Shaw play for the Lakers, or did he just coach?
Keep
He
like
played.
a life.
Yeah, he
And
used to
coach.
play for.
Play and coach.
Didn't remember.
Mr. Stacken, pick a good one here. Pick a good one.
St. Louis Rams.
St. Louis Rams. They used to. Before they were they were from 1937 to 1945. The Rams were in this city.
34 to 37.
34 or 37 to 45.
37 to 45.
So at the height of World War II, they were in the city.
Canton.
Very, very close. Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland.
Very close. That was quite difficult. Mr. Schottenkirk, you are in a four-way tie for first. The final question of the second round. You cannot pick the Denver Nuggets. So
That's right.
who will we go with?
How about the Pistons?
This, let's see what we got here. Who was their coach during the 1978-79 season? He coached for that season. They were 32-50. And then he coached the first 12 games the next season, and they fired him.
ESPN shithead, Dick Vitale.
Dick Vitale is correct.
That's how I remember it, too. Dick Vitale.
Yes, man, shit.
He got fired, baby!
Shit can with a capital S.
So there you go.
Diaper.
Him and Saragusa should get a deal going. That would be good.
Well, they both endorsed the Pens, right?
Try not to shit your pants.
Well, that's actually just one of them, and it's not the one you'd think.
Saragusa shits his pants. That's why he's not in the booth. That's why he's outside.
That's why he had to retire.
There you go. So we got Stack in here, and you got two right. You got Traxler and Charlie 4 apiece. You have David with 5, and Drew Amon did not play coach's decision this week. So we'll see how that works.
It would be like last year at the end of the regular season when Tim Duncan didn't play, and they put the reason was because he was old. We put that as the reason why Amon's not playing. Even though I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest one.
Did not play poor weather. We'll call it poor weather. Poor weather. So I believe this is by far the longest show that we've done. So World Cup coming up. Everybody's excited about that. Stanley Cup continues. NBA final. That's going to really get going here. Tons of stuff. The Twins will see if this Morales plays this week. We'll see if Aaron Hicks lasts a week. We'll see if Chris Parmalee still has a job next week. So tons of stuff we talked about this week. No more horse racing. That's all finished. So any final thoughts?
Rashad Lewis.
I was going to say, interesting World Cup fact that I didn't know. I heard this on the radio. One of the jobs that benefits the most from the World Cup is sex workers. They all travel to wherever the World Cup is, and a lot of them make a lot of money. So
Jurgen Klinsmann is letting U.S. players have sex during the World Cup, so that should be helpful.
Oh, God.
If any of you guys have some specific lady and all of a sudden she's gone, it's probably because she's in Brazil right now.
I understand.
That's where Mom went, son of a bitch. Anyways.
Mexico, their coach isn't letting them have sex.
What does it matter?
Yeah, you're right.
Nathan Stackin, show Tuesday, is this correct?
This is correct, yes. 4:30 to 6 on 90.7 KSTJ and KSTJRadio.com.
6:30? 4:30 to 6.
4:30 to 6, yes.
Yeah, plenty of hockey talk, plenty of soccer talk.
And probably primarily NBA Finals talk, especially if LeBron's up again tonight.
Very good. So that's the 70th edition of the Sports Lounge for David Schottenkirk, the Shield manager here in Sioux Falls, Nathan Stacken, Annette Bosworth, campaign manager Marcus Straxler, and Charlie Hildebrand, the barbecue master. A cliffhanger.
Take it back. Take it back, Kriens. I'm normally okay with what you have to say here at the end.
Let's see, what do we got? John Thune, makeup artist? I don't know.
No, come on, man.
Marty Jackley.
At least John Thune's a winner.
Yeah, John Thune is a winner. That's true.
Marty Jackley's personal assistant.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alrighty, and Charlie Hildebrand with the barbecue deal. You'll announce the barbecue deal next week, will you not?
We're working on it. So a few last-minute details. Depends on the price of tea in China.
It's up 5 cents tomorrow, so we'll check on that. 70th edition of the Sports Lounge. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see and hear from us next week.